We are coming to you live from a bunker several miles down under the Ditch Diggers compound where we are eating Cheetos and drinking tea and weeping gently.
The Weeping Bunker. So this is Ditch Diggers, Season 11, Episode 2. And hi, welcome to the Ditch Diggers.
Hello.
I am Mur Lafferty, she is Ursula Vernon, and we are here to talk to you about the business of writing, or most creative things, but writing is what we know, so that's what we talk about. How are you, Ursula?
I mean, I have a cold, the world is on fire, really fast-moving fire, and somehow I'm supposed to write a book.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm good. How about you?
Pretty much the same, all around the board. Also, I'm taking a class, and I did not turn in my homework on time because it broke, and I'm dealing with that emotional fallout today. Basically, realizing that I can't just turn in a story. That's not how this works. So I'm trying to move past the emotions and get edits done quickly. And don't know if I can do that. We'll see.
I would panic. You are handling this very well.
Well, I think the world has instilled in me such a sense of dread that it's just another thing. So more dread.
Yeah, I was trying to explain this on Blue Sky the other day. We've hit a point where frequently I just start laughing hysterically when something happens. It's like the point where, you've fallen, you were running away from a tiger, you fell in a pit, you broke both legs, and you're like, oh God, this is terrible. And then you look around and realize you landed in poison ivy.
Right.
At that point, you just start laughing.
And fire ants.
I mean, come on, what else is there going to be? And a bird craps on your head. There's a point where it just transmutes into hilarity, or else I think you die of horror. And the people who survive this sort of thing seem to be the ones for whom it turns into hilarity.
Yeah. I always think about the Clue movie where the lights go out and they think the gun goes off and someone screams and somebody comes to the front door and then the lights come back on. And it's just all the cast members moving from room to room, looking at the dead body on the floor, completely just deadpan, just like, oh, look, another dead body. And then they move as one to the next room and look and see another dead body. And I'm like, that is how I feel.
A little clump, sort of, all together. So yeah, no, it's
that's how I feel.
Yes, we are in the clump going, oh, look at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did do a lot of work on this homework project, and I hope I can make it work. I was proud of it, but today it feels like hot garbage, mainly because it's broken, and I can't, and I'm having trouble.
Maybe you should explain what it is so people are.
It's an interactive fiction game. Break. It's an interactive fiction game, and my code is broken, and I was supposed to turn in my game.
You're emotionally like, this isn't working, etc., etc.
No. It's literally broken. You cannot play the game. And it was due yesterday. So, fun. Anyway, but that's what I've been working on, and the only good thing is it's tangential. I still can't fucking say that word. Tangentially? Yes, tangentially related to the book I'm supposed to be writing. And so I'm seeing it as kind of world building as well as, working on my homework. So I feel like I've done a lot of good work on it. At least that's what yesterday Mur thought. And then today Mur's rather negative. But
I apologize. The UPS guy is here. And
to kill you. Yep.
And no, I can see the boxes from here. And they're author copies.
Oh no. Why is this? Oh no. Because you have too many?
I've written nearly 50 books.
Jesus.
I don't have that many shelves. And also I just moved. Yes, Kevin just came out to get them, is holding the box up to the window, laughing at me.
Is he trying to get you back, and say anything?
No, he just knows how I feel about author copies. The first... because I had to pack all the author copies I owned, right? When I moved across the country, in December. And the first box is cool author copies. And the next one is author copies. And the next one is more author copies. And the 10th one is I fucking hate author copies.
Yeah.
Because they're just books you have to move that you can't reread.
Yeah. Yeah. My problem is I have not been translated in as many languages as you have, but usually when you're translated, they'll send you 2 or 3 books. The most I've gotten is 5, I think. And first it's like, wow, there's my book in Japanese. It has a different cover. Yay. And then you're like, well, I can't read Japanese. And if I could, it's the same story. So now I have 5 of these. And I know someone who speaks Japanese, so I was able to give him a copy. And that was it. But it's like I was able to get the Korean copies, and they were gorgeous. But still, it's too many books that I can't even read. And
yeah.
So, but then I didn't get the Russian one. So luckily somebody showed me the cover at a con once. That was cool. But yeah,
I got the foreign language ones. They will send me too many copies. Like they sent me 15 Korean copies of Dragon Breath, and
is that every Dragon Breath?
No, just the first one.
Oh, good.
And they sent me a whole box of, I think, 20 of the Portuguese ones. And in those cases, first of all, I managed to find someone who was at a English immersion school for Korean kids.
Oh, that was cool.
Arrived. And I sent the whole box of those to her. And then I went online for the Portuguese ones and was just like, does anybody know what I can do with these? And because no matter where you go, what is it they say? All knowledge is contained in fandom. I think all situations are contained in fandom, because somebody appeared and was like, I teach at a relocation center for refugees from Tierra del Fuego. This would actually be really useful. And I am like, just give me your address. The box is yours. And so, yeah. The other problem is that I frequently wind up with where like I'll have given away or gotten rid of all of book 1 of Dragon Breath, but I still have like 20 of book 4.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I will say, since Kevin just came in and showed me a copy, the hardcover of SwordHeart, which is being released from Tor next month, or I guess this month since it's February, is really pretty. They did the turquoise sprayed edges.
Oh, the edges. They're so big right now.
Yeah. Edges are
so
huge
sexy
right now. I don't know why. But yes, it's a very pretty book.
You sound so reluctant. But anyway, so yeah, SwordHeart's coming out. It sounds like it's going to be an exciting book, doesn't it? We were going to talk about marketing, because a lot of people complain that their books are not marketed by their publishers. And a lot of times that is true.
That is the thing we hear all the time, is the publisher isn't marketing.
Yes. And then you get the argument of, it's kind of like people who can't find jobs to get experience that they'll need to find jobs. It's like the publisher doesn't want to give you lots of marketing money until you sell lots of books, but the best way to sell lots of books is put marketing money into it to let people know that the book exists. So,
right?
Yeah, I still don't think they need to, give lots of marketing money to Stephen King. I'm pretty sure his books will sell. I don't know.
A lot of times, I think with Stephen King and whatnot, they're not trying to convince you it's a good book. They're just trying to make sure people know the book exists.
Yeah.
It's like the usual thing. However many times you say on Twitter, now Blue Sky, that you had a book out, 6 months from now you will mention it and someone will be like, I didn't know you had a book out.
Yeah.
Like, even if you say it to the point where you're like, I feel like the most worthless shill saying this, particularly since the world is currently on fire and I am trying to ask people to buy, I'm telling them I have a silly fantasy out, but someone will always miss it. In the days of newsletters, it was a little easier, but I don't know if newsletters, I had one and then the company folded and I haven't bothered to do it again.
Yeah, me too. But except for the trying to do it again. Let's talk about marketing, but I want to come back to newsletters because I have many questions that I'm hoping somebody has the answer to. But let's talk about the marketing for SwordHeart, which is coming out when?
That's a great question.
You said it was February.
19th. Yes, I want to say it's February 19th, but it should be on one of these things. I don't freaking know.
Okay, it'll just ask your local bookseller.
Yes.
Yes, so yeah. Tell us about the marketing.
Yes, well, I am very lucky in that I am with Tor, and so I have they have a really good marketing team, and one of the things they do that I really like is right before the book launch, essentially the person in charge of marketing sends me an email, and which is CC'd to everyone on Earth. And part of it is I am proving I'm doing my job thing, but it is basically a roundup of all the marketing and publicity they have done for the book. And that's really handy to have in one place. They also include like all of the graphics so that if I want to put it on Instagram or whatnot, they're all in one email.
That's nice.
It's actually really handy. I don't know if any editors happen to listen to this podcast, but if you do that. It's great. So they launched it. They did cover reveals on Instagram, on the romance things. Coming out under their new Bramble fantasy romance line.
Mm-hmm.
They mailed out 250 hardcover galleys with the sprayed edges to top booksellers, along with a bookseller letter from Tor, which they include here. They had me write a letter to a bookseller / editor letter, which they sent out to bookstore owners, the people who buy books, essentially. This is the time when things like the Library Guild and whatnot will pick up a book or make it a next pick or a best pick or whatnot before the book launches because they got the advanced copies. I don't know how many of these things I'm allowed to actually say because I think some of them are still under embargo.
Really?
Yeah.
Because, it's out soon.
Maybe it's not. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. They did a banner for Edelweiss. Edelweiss is the place where you can go, where critics, readers, reviewers, whatnot, librarians go and to download books and review kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you get manuscripts. They did basically a banner that they paid to have shown, of which is, and they include it, and it's, SwordHeart, T. Kingfisher, beautiful hardcover edition, custom end papers, foil stamped, cozy romance from New York Times bestselling master of genre.
Master of genre.
Yeah, I know. That T. Kingfisher person is clearly doing something. I'm just a weirdo with a hat. Let's see. They also include two, for Bramble, because these are industry people mostly, they include a thing that's basically, we have T. Kingfisher under contract until 2029. These are the books that she has written for us, and which are, most of those don't even have covers yet, but they've got the graphic that's basically, watch this space, haha, we have all of these things coming. They have Amazon deep graphics, which apparently is a thing, and they also use those on Barnes & Noble product pages, so that's got, a lot of those are blurb quotes on, the fancy background of the cover, things, and more, T. Kingfisher, master of the genre, blah, 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 beautiful hardcover edition, etc., etc. And then, let's see, our ads team, I'm reading from the email, has launched paid advertising promotions through Meta with links to pre-orders through NetGalley's romance newsletter on reactormag.com, on Tumblr, in the Booklist newsletter, on bookshop.org, and on Goodreads and Edelweiss. Team also has a TikTok partnership with an influencer for PostPub. They have, and for libraries, because libraries also buy a lot of books, and this is why if you see a writer who is slamming libraries, you should set them on fire because they are clearly an imposter and a body snatcher. Let's see. So, SwordHeart's been featured multiple Macmillan Library blog posts, including a post calling out new Edelweiss e-galleys, featured title, and a Macmillan happy half-hour presentation at Book Buzz, presentations to librarians, been displayed at national institutional conferences, which I assume means the conferences and things, and promoted in the Macmillan Adult Library newsletter, on Twitter, and so they have done a lot of promo, and a lot of these things they paid money for, like the banner ads on Edelweiss and whatnot, and on Meta they forked over cash. I don't know how much cash. That's inside baseball, which I am not privy to. And this is a lot of marketing. This is they really poured a lot of effort and cash into this. They are expecting the book will do well, and it's one of the early flagships for the launch of their new fantasy romance line, Bramble, which is, and that's part of the reason that this is getting so much love and attention, basically, is because Bramble is new It's trying to establish itself, and they're like, this is one of the books that is going to get us there. So they are dumping money into it.
Right.
That's great. I'm to be the recipient. It does not mean that you are not being marketed if they don't do all of this. I want to say this is what really, really top-notch marketing is looking like, which is great. And here is hoping that it works and people pick up the book. It is the book that I still love the most out of everything I've written, so yeah. But
I didn't know that.
SwordHeart, yeah, it's I don't know, it's still the one I had the most fun writing. It was fun. Books are so often like a grim death march, and it isn't until like a year or two later you look at it and go, wow, that's a really good book. SwordHeart, I was just like giggling while I wrote it. And yeah, and some of that I think is reflected just, it was kind of giddy. And now I'm having to write the sequel because, among other things, they bought the 2 sequels that were supposed to exist that I never got around to because of the pandemic and everything.
Right.
So,
you were too busy writing about bread.
Yes. And, no, I'd written that book already years ago.
Oh, that's true. I remember this.
Yeah. No, I was too just, existing in a horrible pandemic and writing, I think, Nettle and Bone or whatever I was writing. Anyway, the point is, occasionally publishers do good marketing. If they don't do this level of marketing, it doesn't mean they don't believe in your book, because a lot of times they don't. I have had books that, in fact, I don't think I've ever had a book where they put this much marketing into it.
Mm-hmm. Well, can you say, it's a hardcover book, can you say how many that the first print run is going to be? You don't have to.
They didn't tell me it was under embargo. They ordered 75,000 hardcovers, and let me tell you, that is batshit. That is like, Mur, I feel like this is all very much inside baseball. That is a hella. And, I heard that, my thought was, this will either pay off the house or tank my career.
Yeah.
Because if these don't, this is a huge cash investment, and if they don't sell, if these books get remaindered, I'm just glad I am under contract for a long time and might have the chance to make up for the loss, because if this book tanks, they will never put this kind of marketing into it again.
Yeah.
This is the danger of the big deal is you better come through or it gets bad.
Yeah, it's got to be terrifying. A lot of pressure.
Yeah. But I mean, it just goes on the pile with all the other terrifying things right now. So,
yeah, and this is kind of a good terrifying thing.
Yeah. And I'm glad it's happening with this book. This book I have the confidence in, and that I'm like, if people give it a chance, they will love the thing. So it helps that I'm also a few years out from writing it.
That's true.
Yeah. Whenever it's a new book, you're like, oh God, but you're still too close to the horror of the horror.
Yeah, who wrote this?
Yes, that is yes, publishers do sometimes still do marketing. The circumstances under which they do it are specific, and you may not get this lucky. In fact, the odds are good you won't get this lucky. The odds are good I will never get this lucky again. But they do, but as the saying goes, what is it? 50% of marketing is effective, just nobody knows which 15%.
Yeah.
The fact that publishers really don't know what makes people buy the book. So it's not that they're necessarily doing it wrong. A lot of times they are doing the very best they can with the information they have.
Yeah.
Because if I knew what 15% of marketing was effective, I would just do that and skip a publisher. That's a lie. I don't want to have to deal with all the nitty gritty, and I'm glad to have a publisher for that. But having self-pubbed a lot of books, I would have made a whole lot more money if I knew which 15% of marketing was effective. But nobody knows what it is, and it's also a moving target because once upon a time you had to be on Book Talk, and then now there's no point because it's such a jammed field that if you're just starting now, you'll never get found. So
yeah.
It's like you have to find the next big thing before it's big, and
that's super easy
to do that. Yeah.
So, do you want to say anything about what you plan on doing once the book comes out?
Well, I plan on that. The world still exists in 2 weeks. I will be, and I don't actually have a book launch event planned. I could probably set one up, but it'd be really short notice at the local bookstore.
You would still fill McIntyre's. You know you would.
Well, yes, I know, but I'd have to fly back for that.
Oh, that's right. You're not local. Damn it.
No, sorry.
I forgot. Oh, now I'm sad.
I'm sorry. And the local bookstores have been reaching out to me. They were going through a friend of mine who is local, who is the head of the local science fiction community, and he was actually like holding them at bay, going, "You have to wait until she has unpacked." So, which I am. Thank you, Craig. But I was like, hey, some people had asked for signed copies, and which I had a bookstore in North Carolina, Flyleaf, who was very nice about, I would come in, sign stock, and then they would, people could order them online and they would mail them out.
Flyleaf is still where you can get all my books signed.
Yes. Get
Flyleaf.
Murs. So I asked him and he was like, okay, funny story. Here's the person who, and so Bookworks locally is going to be the place to get it. Bookworks in Albuquerque. I am doing a launch with them for Hemlock and Silver, which will be in August, which is the new book, another new book coming out. It's a dark fantasy because I write a lot of books. Also, it was just announced, I think, today on launch that Snake Eater, my desert horror novel, will be coming out in this fall.
Awesome.
The third book of the Sworn Soldiers series. So I think that makes 4 books coming out this year for me. Plus, if I can get another Paladin book done. So it's a big year.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's a lot. Sorry. Oh, right. I was going to say, and you realize that if you do the math, folks, and you follow Ursula at all, you know that a lot of this writing happened when you were doing chemo, didn't it?
A chunk of it did, yes.
How do you do this?
Well, on chemo, it was because they gave me steroids. They give you steroids when you're on chemo so that you don't reject things and so that you do not turn into an emaciated husk. So I would get chemo. I would get IV steroids, and for about a day and a half afterwards, I was Superwoman.
Wow.
I would run all my errands for the week. I would write. I would get everything done. And then I would feel the crash coming towards me like a freight train. And then I would sleep for 4 days. And then I would do it again. But I did not get nearly as much written then. And I did push out delivery on a couple of things. And also right before I started chemo, I had like a month when I knew I was going to. And I finished everything at that point. Like I wrote just all day and night because I knew it was going to suck.
You scare me sometimes. I don't know how you do this.
It's all I do. I mean,
you start arguments online and you look at birds.
Okay, that's fair.
And you play video games.
Yes. And some terrible person who's actually an old friend of mine online told me about this thing called Nomad Sculpt, which is a 3D sculpting program on the iPad.
Oh, no.
And it's so easy to use and so awesome. And I am like sculpting things, and you can import the files then into like Clip Studio Paint and arrange them. And I am getting ever closer to my goal of someday being able to do another webcomic where I don't have to draw anything or draw very little, because I'll be honest, I will spend 3 hours arranging things in a little scene to avoid 10 minutes of drawing.
Wow.
This is the legacy of being a children's book illustrator for years. Please address all complaints and sympathy to Penguin Dial, who is the architect of my burnout. But I still love comics. I love the format. I get the itch to do them, but I am like, I really don't want to draw one. I want to lay it out. I want to do the word balloons. I want to do everything except the drawing part. So I'm like, if I do all of this, I minimize all the drawing bits. And then apparently I could learn Blender, and then I could just set it all up in there. And that is a madness from which I do not know if I would recover.
What is Blender?
It's basically a CGI animation program, I want to say, for lack of anything better. It's enormously powerful film-making kind of thing. People do amazing stuff in it. You can do motion capture, you can do all kinds of shit. And my brain is going, I could lay it all out, and I could set all the lighting, and I could take the photos, and then I could just put the word balloons on. And yes, I could actually photograph stuff, but A, there are very few monsters in real life I could photograph, and B, this is a gadget that is fun and I'm learning, and I was bored in an airport because my layover was like 4 hours. And and I was in waiting rooms like for a couple of days because I had to fly back to North Carolina to get my mammogram and follow up. I'm fine. It's all good. I'm clear. Everything's healing beautifully, but I have to get 6 months follow-ups because, cancer does that shit. And so I was like, I'm bored. I will learn this new program. Oh, I could do things with this new program. Anyway.
Yeah. So I want to talk about newsletters.
Yes,
they constantly vex me. I'm with Substack now, and Substack is a very good program. But Substack has also been kind of cool making money from Nazis. And
they're evil.
They've said, as Meta came out and said, we're all pro First Amendment, which means all hate speech and no fact checking are A-okay. And Substack's like, I support Meta's view of the First Amendment. And so they're going to be doing the same thing. And it could be because I've been creating content for people on the internet for 20 years. But it's like every time it looks like I have to make a change, I'm just terrified my community won't come with me. But I was holding my nose and staying with Substack after the first, yay, we're making money from Nazis kind of thing. But then this recent one is, I can't. So I got to figure out where to go and hope that I'm going to bring people with me. I guess this dovetails onto my next question/comment. I can't export my mailing list and just take it with me. The thing is that when I left MailChimp, I rage quit and didn't export my mailing list. So I've been building that up from scratch ever since that. But so I'm thinking Ghost maybe, I don't know. But I had a meeting with some other Patreon creators last week, and I learned a lot, and I enjoyed the presentation someone gave. And then there was a moment to, they wanted us to do a questionnaire afterwards. And I said, I liked it all, except I still don't understand this one thing. And the next morning, I have an email from the presenter saying, here, several paragraphs of how he would better explain what I was not getting. And I was so touched that he took the time immediately, like ADHD. It would have taken me 3 weeks to remember. And then another week to find the time.
Very nice.
It was super nice. And then today I got his mailing. I got his newsletter. I didn't sign up for his newsletter. Nowhere did I opt in to sign up for his newsletter. And I'm realizing more and more, if I have an email conversation with somebody, they're going to put me on their list. And I'm thinking
I promise you, Mur, if you have an email conversation with me, I will never put you on the list. That would require a degree of organization I lack. Also a list.
But it's more of, it's hard for us to promote ourselves, but we've known for several years now that you have to. Is this like that? Or is this really a dick move that some very creative and friendly people are doing that I'm just going to have to hold my nose and start doing myself to build my mailing list? Because I don't get it. It's it's not even just something done by people I think are really ambitious and an asshole. This is just a guy who was very giving of his time. I liked what he had to say, but I didn't opt in. And I'm just baffled and kind of angry, but I've been kind of angry for a couple of reasons lately, so it could just be piggybacking on that. But you go now.
No, I have nothing useful to add to that. I mean, how can I explain this? Are not wrong. It may have happened to me and I didn't notice because you actually pay attention to these things. And I don't. And also my spam filters are set, so Gmail probably just punted it somewhere. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how widespread it is. I think it's like the thing where, you sign up for an app and it's let's all of your contacts so that we can send them a spam email, basically, saying sign up for the app. Yeah. And I always say no, for the love of God, no. But probably a lot of people are just click next and don't think about it. I never assume malice about anything. It's, if somebody knifed me in an alley, I would assume their foot slipped. So yeah. Well,
see, I'm not. That's my question. Because I like this guy and I like the stuff he does. I couldn't think malice, which is why I'm wondering: is this just what people do nowadays? And I'm just sitting over here cranky, when it's standard, I should just go do it myself if I want to build up my list. I don't know.
I truly don't know if it's standard. I would not let it if you like the person.
No. I'm not saying about that. It was more of it just got me on my thing of like, is this what people are doing now? Because I hate it. And I don't know if I'm just cranky woman yelling at clouds kind of thing.
I mean, if you hate it, don't do it. Like,
no, I hate being on the other end. I hate being on the receiving end. But I don't know if I'm the only one. Anyway, so you'd mentioned doing a mailing list. You don't have one, right? Right now?
I did have one, and then it was the one that was through Twitter.
Yeah, me too.
And then that went away, and I was like, well, fuck. I think I added I started kind of doing it on Patreon when I remembered, which isn't often. Mm-hmm. And I was actually good about keeping up the mailing list because I don't know why. Probably because the nice personal assistant that like 5 of us share would actually remind me of it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. By the way, if you thought about Patreon and decided not to do it, because Patreon now has the ability to give free memberships. And so you can get like a taste or follow the author and see what they have without actually paying any money. And the creators decide how much is going to go out to the free people, but you can find out more about what your favorite creators are doing on Patreon without actually paying any money. So
everything on mine is free except the self-pub ebooks are a pay tier. But like, if you just want to know what's going on with my life, but then again, I update it like every 5-6 months. So because I never read the things that come when I follow people's Patreon, so I assume nobody else does either.
Yeah. In the chat, Beth says, if you were in Europe, it's adding people without consent is probably illegal, GDPR. And that person could be fined if they either added you without consent or don't remove you from the mailing list at request. I do feel like people add any contacts to their mailing list now, but I agree with you. The lack of consent to be added to contact lists is kind of frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the question of ADHD, you do it now or never kind of thing, or the now, not now switch.
Oh, yeah. I do it in the next 30 seconds or I don't do it.
Yeah. Which is why I still like to roll a die at my to-do list, even though sometimes it gets awkward. Like it tells me to go grocery shopping first thing in the morning and then I have to skip over that one. But more than likely, it's something I can follow.
Wait, you have a to-do list and you roll dice at it?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's just, I thought it was silly, but it's like that little bit of executive function removal works wonders. Because I don't have to think about prioritizing anything, and then when I prioritize it, just go, I still don't want to do that one. But for some reason, when I roll a die and number 7 comes up, if it's something I can do, again, like larger chores or errands are kind of outliers, but I'll do it and I'll come back and roll another die. And I don't know why, but it works for me.
I think that's kind of genius.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, remember Tree Lobsters came up with an HTML thing for me to kind of wait. Because the problem was there was the worry of never being able to, the most important thing may be avoided if you roll poorly all day, the thing you actually have to do may not come up. And so he figured out a way to weight the different chores so certain things are more likely to come up. So you can be like, writing, I'm going to put that at level 20 and, call the dentist number 5 or something. And you still may not roll the larger one, but you have a much greater chance. The problem with that HTML was I still prefer to do handwriting for all of my analog thinking. And that means brainstorming, to-do list making, notes, whatever. My handwriting's terrible. I have pieces of paper all over the house with sometimes unintelligible scribble on them, but that really is the only way I can function when I'm like in a brainstormy thinking kind of way. And if I get a digital to-do thing, I don't care if is the hottest app out there or this really cool custom-made HTML page, I'm still not going to use it.
That's fascinating.
Also, I do like rolling the dice because they're dice.
Oh yeah, I mean dice. No, it's interesting that you like for analog. That is, I hate it. never write anything by hand if I can avoid it. I wonder if it's a function of when we all started using computers, at what age range. If there's like a window when, I was writing bad fanfic when I was 7 or 8 years old on the Note app on my Amiga 500. So I think there's probably like a formative window of writing by hand versus writing on the computer. Because I know lots of other people who are like, oh no, I write everything. I know people who handwrite their first draft.
And I won't do. Yeah, I can't do that. That would just devolve into like just a kind of wiggly line for every word, which is pretty much what my digital signature is now.
Oh yeah. Well, it's really bad for me because my initials are UV. So if I have to initial something, it's a W.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are getting kind of far afield.
We are, but people are excited about the rolling a die idea. I haven't talked about it in a long time, but I have mentioned it before. But then I remember that not everybody's seen or listened to every episode. I got to remember that. That's another thing, like, you saying that you do these, you promote your book for 6 months and still somebody hasn't heard it. That's how I feel with having done these podcasts for 10 years for Ditch Diggers and 20 years for I Should Be Writing. Is like, surely they've heard this before. But some have.
People thing, but lots of people have not, and that is a useful one. I did not know that one, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I enjoy using it, and I get to play with dice. Sometimes I do it for my email too. Email triage, just roll a die and do that number of whatever is in the email. So it's just masterful of taking away decisions when really you need to save that brain power for like actual decisions in doing whatever thing is on the list. It just really wears me out mentally to have to decide what thing is what priority and when I should do it.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's called decision fatigue for a reason.
Yeah. Obama had his brown shoes, brown suits, and I have my dice. Me and Obama, just like totally similar. Maybe not, but
I don't know about that, but yeah, there's a lot of things like that. Like you work all day and then you have to decide what to have for dinner, and your brain just goes completely blank because you have made a lot of decisions. This is not an important decision, but everything just shorts out, and you're like, I don't know.
And you just want to cry.
Yeah, and you end up and it's worse if there's another person, because in fact I think it's mostly if there's another person, because you feel like you should have a dinner instead of just, why don't we fend for ourselves like ravening beasts and eat salsa over the sink. So yeah, and frequently we have gotten around this by just saying, why don't we have a fend night, and then it's fend for yourself, eat salsa like a ravening beast, whatever the hell you want to do.
Yeah.
Nobody has the spoons. Yeah,
exactly. Well, we will hopefully be back in 2 weeks. That's the timeline we're trying to stick to.
Yes.
But one thing I didn't tell you about Ursula, but when I supported a Zombies Run project, I don't know if it's a virtual race or whatever, I got this little pack of affirmations. And I love them because they're mostly zombie-oriented, but they are good reminders. For example, I have survived fast zombies, helicopter crashes, rocket launcher attacks, and Sam's cooking. I will survive this too. But it's also got, I am more than what I do for other people, and I will not compare myself to strangers on the internet. And the one I like for today, which is even the worst days are only temporary. We just got to hold on to the bull that our world has attached us to and hold on tight. But anyway, if you want to hear past episodes of Ditch Diggers, you can go to murverse.com and click on the Ditch Diggers link, and you'll get all of our archives. I am in the process of cleaning up the archives for the supporters. I am not there yet because it's busy work, but it's a lot of busy work, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to manage that. But anyway, supporting my Patreon will get you 20 years of archives once I get them put up. So yeah, Ursula, where can we find you online?
You can find me online mostly on Blue Sky. I love social media when I can, bitch about my cat. And I am T Kingfisher most of the time. And on Blue Sky, you can also find all of my books and whatnot at Red Wombat Studio. KeyKingsReefer.com also gets you there. I really need to update that. It's been a while. And I do have a Patreon, again, at Red Wombat. Actually, I think that one's at Ursula V. God, I really need coherent branding.
Yeah.
And updates extraordinarily rarely. And when I do a self-pub book, it comes out there. Mostly it supports, for example, my husband's podcast, Productivity Alchemy, and stuff like that. Yeah, that's me. And
SwordHeart comes out in...
Hang on, let me just, I have the internet. Let me look.
Okay.
It comes out February 25th.
25th, okay.
Yes, 3 weeks.
SwordHeart coming out from Tor on February 25th. Everybody get it. It's probably going to be your biggest book to date, isn't it? That's the hope.
I hope so.
Yeah.
God willing.
And the creek don't rise.
Yeah. If the world is on fire and you're depressed, so are we. So
yeah, you're not alone.
But at least we're all depressed together.
Yeah. And, if you do get the desire to create during this time, do it. Do it. Don't think that you need to be glued to all the awful, because you know what? It doesn't do anybody any good at all. At all. So if you can create, that'd be awesome.
Everybody needs a weeping bunker. I mean, a weeping closet is good, but we've moved to the bunker stage, I think.
Yeah.